Welcome to Launch Today, the podcast focused on what it takes to get your new business to $1 million in revenue. From marketing tactics to incredible guest interviews, we focus on sharing behind-the-scenes insight from masters in their field. If you want to grow your revenue for your startup or your business, you want to get off the sidelines and you want to launch today, you don't want to miss today, because our guest is going to help you learn, understand how to use social media and email marketing for your email business. Today, we're delighted to have Talal Abulshamat, a visionary in digital advertising and the founder of TAS Digital Agency. Talal has transformed the advertising landscape for e-commerce through innovative use of platforms like Meta, TikTok, Snapchat, and email marketing to achieve a remarkable $21 million in profitable revenue for his clients. Whether it's enhancing customer acquisition or mastering email and SMS marketing, Talal's insights are invaluable. Let's dive into his techniques that have catapulted numerous e-commerce brands to success. Talal, welcome to Launch Today.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Trevor. It's really exciting to be here.
Great to have you on the show. I've known you for 2 years now. We've been acquainted for a while. We're in a mastermind together. And I first knew you as that guy who kept talking about TikTok. And I was like, man, TikTok ads. And you were like, no, dude, there's something there. I remember way back when. Of course, now maybe we run into problems with TikTok ads in the U.S. But tell my audience a little bit about TAS Digital Agency, what it is you do, how you've gotten to where you are.
Okay. We met 2 years ago, and I'm really happy I met you, actually. And it was a start of a good partnership and friendship. Okay, so let me begin. So talk about my story. I started almost 6 years ago in the e-com space to learn more about it. I was learning about actually Amazon and dropshipping and all of this. Yeah, like it was trending at the moment, if you remember. And actually, I did some partnerships with some people and friends. We launched shops, and I was partnering with them and helping them in advertising, marketing, building the shops. So I was really excited to do everything and learning about that. And then after a while, to be honest, partnerships did not work with me that well. I decided to start my own venture. The cool thing is that I saved some money from one business and lost money from the other business. However, I learned about the agency model, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool. So everything I do here for marketing, for advertising, everything I learned, I can do it for other brands. And this is where I started to reach out for either around my friends, people I know, anyone has a website or they want to use advertising to scale their website. I'm here. I have skills. I can do that for you. So this is where I started. And then I started actually hiring team members with me. So finding people that can do delivery. And because I, of course, as a business owner, later on, since my vision wasn't to be a consultant, but to be a business owner. So it was like, okay, where can I find the best people to be good team members with me and deliver great results to clients? This is where we started. Now we are an agency of 15 to 20 people, and we help brands to grow basically with these strategies.
Building, growing, and scaling, that's all super compelling. That's what everyone wants to do when they launch their business. Like me, you have a very strong emphasis on digital advertising. What do you think is really important when you're making a advertising campaign for an e-com brand?
Okay, great question. So really, there's a lot of, let's say an e-com brand has reached to us to start an advertising campaign. It's first of all, we need to understand, is it a new business or a business that has already a product market fit? So do you have, let's say, an idea or kind of the example that you wanna emphasize? Is it a new, like totally new product in the market, or is it tested in the market?
Let's workshop an idea here. Let's suppose it's a relatively new business. They've sold a little bit, mostly the way e-com businesses start, friends and family and some referral around. They've got, I don't know, pick your product type, whatever, pet food, right? And they're going, okay, I'm new. I've got my Shopify store set up. Everything is ready. I want to go. What do I do?
Okay. So as an agency, as a team of, let's say, a marketing team, the most important thing for the marketing team to begin any strategy is to understand the product and the audience. Who are we really targeting, right? So we first do a research phase. With questions, we ask the brand and also the owner of the brand. Sometimes within these questions or within this research phase, they know more about their personas. Because to be honest, sometimes you do a lot, like even in our businesses, we are actually sometimes delivering for a lot of clients and brands. But when you reflect on who's really your ideal persona, you start to understand who's that. So this is the first
I
step:
hear you.
research and ideal persona creation, let's say, and the product as well. So asking about their product and why did they choose that product and why people buy from them. So research phase, and then from there we want to start talking to this persona. So you asked me about what is the most important steps of advertising in this era that we're living in 2024. I would say it's creatives. It's creatives, messaging. It's more important now than specific targeting and strategies within the media buying. In my opinion, and what we see mostly now in these new strategies, because tracking is just being a mess month by month, year by year.
Oh yeah,
So
that's true.
yeah, so it's really the messaging
Let
that
me
could,
dive into that though, because a lot of
yeah.
people who listen to this podcast aren't necessarily super advanced marketers. I cracked up when you mentioned that tracking is a mess because it definitely is. What do we mean when we say tracking is a mess? What does somebody, when they hear tracking is a mess, what should they be worrying about?
In the e-com space, since this is our experience, you cannot trust 100% the accounts. Which are, well, what I mean is that if you're doing Meta ads, if you're doing TikTok, if you're doing Snapchat ads, Google ad, mostly, yeah, I would say all of these accounts, what they show, what they record, what data they record in their platforms is not 100% accurate, right? Plus, of course, why is the reason for that? Because of the issues with privacy and what Apple did back years back with their iOS, and now with the cookieless kind of, yeah, the cookieless world that we will live in. So mainly what will happen is that anyone who doesn't want any app or any platform to track them, they have the choice easily to do that. And because we cannot track people, we cannot track their behaviors and their interests, we need to target them in a different way. We cannot rely on the data record. If the data says these are the people that bought from you, we need to doubt that or take it as a data that we can utilize but not 100% depend on. And then we mainly depend on the messaging to reach the people.
Gotcha.
Does it
There
make sense?
is, yeah, I think so. There is a trick I like because I've been around since the bad old days of the internet before cookie tracking was really even a thing. And back in the ancient days from whence I hail, it used to be the way you associated leads properly to a campaign was by sending them to a specific landing page. And then if you see a conversion from that page, you know that the only way someone could have found that page was because you sent them there. And so it ends up helping with some of that tracking, like the cookie tracking issues, when you go, look, I don't care what information I was trying to set in a cookie session. I don't care any of the stuff that modern advertisers use. If you've been to this page, I can remarket to you frequently. But if I get a conversion, even if you stripped out all of the data from your session, I still know this conversion came from this ad campaign. That's the only thing that sent traffic to this page. So that is like the if smart won't fix it, dumb can do. That's my version of fixing it the stupid way, but it is rugged enough that still works pretty well.
Yeah, no, actually, it's a great idea. I don't think it's a stupid way at all. It's a new way of how to separate your targeting. And it's also you're separating your offers. Like what you're doing now, you're hitting like it's called two birds in one stone. So you're creating a specific offer for the specific audience, and you're also tracking them, which is one of the cool, let's say we want to talk now and we want to help e-commerce brands. this is one of the tricks that you mentioned. Like A/B test your offer. If you're selling, for example, a bottle of water, create a landing page that says, "Hey, are you a runner and you need water to function, or do you need to hydrate as a
Yep.
runner?" Yes. And the other one, are you a bodybuilder? Then you need a bottle of water, and then you are actually talking to both personas and you're tracking. So we also do that to improve and to separate offers and personas and all of that.
Yeah. So that is I guess, the low-tech way. Cool. All right. So I agree. Creative is key. I think asked a good question. Do you focus on, I know some people, they're like Barry Hott, who talks about make ugly ads, and it is make your ads look UGC. There are people who focus on like just outlandish, crazy imagery or videos to stop the scroll and grab your attention. Do you have a particular theory of what makes good creative?
Good question. So it's not about what's a good creative. It's about testing a lot of ideas and see what fits with the brand. We had niches. We see statics work really well. Cool static with a headline, with a bold headline, works really well. And then we test headlines, right? We see videos are working. We see UGCs are working really. Yeah, about UGCs. About UGCs now, in my opinion, are a must. Like they are this cool social proof that you can always have. You can utilize in the ads, and you can utilize on the website, and then you can utilize in your organic, right? Right now, I would say for any new brand to take the opportunity of UGC creation seriously, because I think I would imagine in someday eventually UGCs will be like, because of the amount of UGCs being created, people will start not trusting UGCs anymore. There will be like a different structure of a UGC. People are seeing UGCs all the time. No, as a customer, you would say, okay, this is too much UGC. It's start becoming annoying or fall off. But
I feel you.
yeah, but to be honest, we test a lot. So you said ugly ads, we test ugly ads, we test UGC ads, we test hooks, right? We start with a cool hook, like a crazy hook, first 2 seconds to grab the customer, see the thumb stop rate, we change the body, and then we do another. If you want, I can tell you quickly about our process. This is to give basically the client's exact process, creative process.
Sure.
Okay, so I'm going to go back to the audience, right? So we created the audience. Now from this audience, we want to test the angles. So what we do is like we have this persona, right? Or let's say avatar, or like whatever they call it. Under this persona, we want to test different angles. So we said, for example, if we're selling a bottle of water, who is it for? We have the athletes, right? But if we want to more go deeper, it's for the runners and the bodybuilders, right? So we have runner persona. So runner people, what angles we want to target? So we can say, hey, are you preparing for a marathon? One angle. For example, the other angle would be, do you need a bottle with you all the time? Or do you need your friend that hydrates you while running? Something like that, right? I'm not it's a bit of research. And then a third angle. Each angle of these are then go to a design. For example, preparing for a marathon, and then it goes, for example, we can do 3 video variations. Each video starts with a different hook, and then it's the same body, and then it's the same CTAs. Are you a runner preparing for a marathon? Then this is for you, blah, 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 blah. Take your bottle now, blah, blah. Then it will be, do you know that having this bottle of water would be the best choice for you as a marathon runner? So 3 different hooks, and then bodies, so forth, and then the same body, and then we test them. However, for an e-com brand to start, if they're just starting out, I would say instead of doing a lot of variations, 3 variations, you could do 1 angle, 2 variations. And you can start with, for example, 2 or 3 angles a week. So every week you are targeting runners, 2 angles, 2 variations, So you have, two angles, two variations, or four ads.
Yeah. That's very similar, right? Crowd tamers is we do our minimum viable sprints, which is what I talk about a lot. You've probably heard of if you listened to this podcast before. We always start with either three audiences and four ads or four audiences and three ads. We have a 12-way split to start with. We run that for a $100 budget for 48 hours and we see what performs. We iterate. We do usually 2 or 3 variations. We find what the top performers out of all of those, and then we start to build actual conversion campaigns from there.
You utilize traffic
Traffic
conversions?
to begin with. Yeah, traffic first.
Okay.
Just
Yeah.
because you can't optimize for a conversion until the AI has seen conversions happen. So like on Google's side, I will tend to wait. I'll want to see at least a half a dozen to a dozen conversions happen off of a traffic campaign before I set up a conversion campaign, because otherwise Google's guessing how to optimize for a conversion. Likewise for Meta, I like to see 6, 10, something like that, traffic campaign conversions to then go, okay, this is starting to work. Now if I make it a conversion campaign, it'll run more accurately. That said, just this week, here it is, we're recording this on the 8th of May, which is, it'll publish a bit after this, but just this week for 2 of my client campaigns, ad campaigns that last week did like $15, $20 a sign up are now $300 to $400 a sign up, right? Identical ad campaign, identical landing page. Facebook was just like, how about you go hop, skip and go screw yourself, which does bring me actually to another point. I recently wrote a book I'll be publishing soon about Facebook ads and running Facebook marketing. I've been doing Facebook marketing for, 12 years. And yet, even still, the ability to run ads on Facebook, I have noticed for the last 2 years, has been getting markedly worse. The platform is worse. The customer support is worse. The AI is worse. Everything is just downhill from where it used to be. As an advertiser, as a digital marketer, what platforms do you like? Do you think Meta is still a great place to be? Are there other channels you prefer? What are you doing these days?
To be honest with you, we still feel Meta is the best place because Meta has the biggest data. This is the issue, right? If you think about it, who has I'm not comparing to Google, I'm comparing social media compared to TikTok or Snapchat. Meta is still the top performer. However, we really test out when a client's just starting out. If the client has a budget to test out, for example, 2 to 3K on Meta, 2 to 3K on TikTok, 2 to 3K on Snapchat, surprisingly,
Really?
Snapchat is working.
Snapchat ad in my life.
Snapchat is actually working really well with us these days.
Interesting.
Yeah.
CPMs are probably pretty low there. They are
Yeah.
not a heavily used advertiser.
Yes.
The same with
TikTok
Pinterest.
CPMs are also lower, huh? But TikTok
TikTok
is harder to convert. But if it works for a certain niche, it can be scalable.
Yeah.
But we
I get you.
always start with Meta.
I have
And
tended to start with Meta, but I don't know about you. I've seen of the last 8 new Meta ad accounts that I have set up, literally all 8 have been banned within the first week. Or I guess not banned, suspended within the first week for bullshit reasons. I shouldn't be swearing. This is my podcast. For crap reasons, right? One of them, for example, I have an executive coach. She is pretty well known in her field. She's been interviewed and quoted by places like MSNBC, Fox News, Harvard Business Review. So we included a bunch of logos as seen on, and then all these logos. Meta flagged that as a political ad. Because we mentioned political news sources, right?
Now
so like, this isn't political, so there you go. We're going to now suspend the ad campaign. I had a different client who was making software for real estate agents to use to manage their deal flow, got the entire account suspended, permanently banned, because we were discriminating in our housing sale practices. Because in the U.S., you aren't allowed to discriminate by age or gender or income on where you place ads for a house. Now, we weren't advertising houses. We were advertising software for people who sell houses. And got it out, appeal was shut down, appealed again, appeal was shut down. And they're just like, now you're banned for life. You're a bad actor. I got my business's ad account was suspended because 3 of my new clients' ad accounts all got suspended at the same time.
Yeah, it hurts.
And so they're like, clearly you're doing bad stuff. And I'm talking to the Facebook, these poor support reps, they cut 80% of their Facebook support staff on the ad campaign side in the last 18 months. So they're overworked. They know nothing. And then you talk to them and they're like, I don't know, everything looks like it should be fine. We'll reactivate your ad account today. And then nothing happened a month later, right? And then a month later, nothing happened. So I'm just about here fed up with Meta because for new advertisers, it is quite a hostile experience. In my track record, and I don't know, maybe I'm running bad ads, but I'm not doing anything that should be getting us banned.
Are these accounts new?
Yeah, they're brand new. That's part of the problem.
And were you like spending a lot maybe in the first
$100
month?
48-hour ad campaign.
Mm.
$100. Two accounts I signed up for, we didn't even run ads, and they banned the account, not suspended it. Made an
Oh,
account,
this
hooked
could
up the
be
page.
a history problem from the owner. So what we do usually with new accounts, because it's becoming like this, as you mentioned, we start with a lower spend. We start 30 a day, 40 a day for 2 weeks, and then we start scaling. And also, yeah, definitely political. Like now, because of the
Oh, yeah. If it was a political ad, I'd be like,
yeah,
fine, you're right, you caught me. But it was not.
yeah. So we also got rejected of. We have a client that is somehow political in the space, like they have the business is somehow political. So we are seeing rejections, but we are spending like 200 300K a month, so it's fine with them. But we are seeing rejections with some ads that have no, like, that put a logo of CNN, they will immediately
Yes.
take it
You'd be
as
like,
political.
oh, this is clearly politics. And you're like, really?
It's an AI, so we
It's an
cannot.
AI. But then the human, this is the thing,
The
is a
human.
human will flag it, and then the AI overrides the human, which is not how these systems should be.
I have a friend. He is working
Uh,
with the Facebook ads team,
uh,
and as a customer service. And I don't know if we want to talk about this, but he literally said to me, in a nutshell, he said to me, "We cannot do anything. Point. We cannot do anything as customer service. We don't. We actually go if it's a really big deal. We go to our managers, and they would do something. And if you're a business doing, I don't know, maybe 5 million, 10 million a year, we don't care. If you're a
yeah,
billion business, that we can
yeah,
probably help you. It's
I know.
crazy. Like
It's
they're really
insane.
selective.
It's insane.
Uh,
That brings me to, right, platform problems
yeah,
unlocking. I would note, by the way, Talal, we talked about this at the last mastermind you and I were in. Thumbs up from Mac OS there for you. We talked about this. I've been seeing for every audience that I'm trying to reach out to, time spent on YouTube is higher than time spent on Meta, which makes sense. Most people have a YouTube browser open on one of their screens practically the whole day, right? And I've been having some pretty good results recently with building custom audiences on YouTube of people who have searched for specific terms and then advertising to them that way. And so there's a hack for anybody who's listening, right? That's actually the blog post I'm supposed to publish on Friday is exactly this. Now, by the time this goes live, I will have published it. But this exact process, I have some crazy high 20, 30, 40 ROAS ad campaigns running right now where they're YouTube ads built off of a custom search audience. And
yeah,
that gets you tremendous reach. Like I've got for niche terms, how to find PMF for my startup, 50 million weekly impressions for folks who have searched that in the last 30 days. Because the scope of what YouTube can target and over 30 days, anybody who's searched for it. So reach is, I'm never going to use 50 million impressions a week, but the reach is effectively all my ad frequencies are down to one. Because if there's 50 million people a week who I can hit and I'm buying $20 in ads a day, no one's going to see the ad twice unless I have an audience of folks who saw my ad and now see another one. Anyway.
yeah. I remember about this conversation, and I want to tell the team to try that out as well, to
It
see.
is more of a pain in the butt to get the creative, right? So we're both agency owners, and this might be a bit inside pool, but in my agency, when we're developing a new SOP, I am almost always the one who models it. I do it a couple times. I see if it's something that is worth teaching someone else in the team, and then I document the processes and we do it. So right now at the point where, like just this morning, I shared with a team member we sat in a call together. I went through and bought a bunch of these YouTube ads for a client. And then also I cut their videos for their ads yesterday because, again, when you're modeling something out for the first time, I'm doing it before I have my team members see how it's done. So like it's a pain in the butt that I'm making YouTube shorts for somebody else. That's not what my best day is as an agency owner. You do stuff that doesn't scale until you discover it needs to scale. And right now I've got two clients who are running these ads and me, and I'm looking to see by the end of this month I should have pretty much conclusive results for all of us. I do have direct comparison for one client. They're spending $175 a lead on Google search. On the YouTube campaigns we're running for them, I think it's $26 a lead.
Wow. And are they qualified, like the qualification rate? Is it
The qualification rates are equally bad, I would say, across both of them. Their lead quality for both is meh. Right? So
okay. Well,
there's
so
a
it's
very
cheaper.
high ticket offer is part of the problem. But so with the high ticket offer, they have to really validate the leads after their sign up. But anyway, okay. So talk a lot about display and performance. Talk a little about email and SMS. I do some cold outreach. I previously run quite large membership, like people who bought from this store once, get them to buy again campaigns. But you do a bunch of email stuff. You've made a lot of money with it. Talk about how if somebody is starting up in the e-com space, what do you want to make sure you're doing with your email marketing to make it make more money?
So in the e-com space, it's so much different than the B2B space. I would say, it's totally different. The email funnel in the e-com is about retention. So how can you retain your customers, right? It's a bit different than B2B, but email is about retention mainly. And also conversions or conversion rate. So in email, what we do is we set up automations, or they're called flows as well. These automations work depending on the behavior of the customers checking the website. For example, let's say I went to Crowd Tamers. Let's say in Crowd Tamers you're selling a PDF book, right? You're selling your book, right? I clicked add to cart, but then I didn't buy for some reason. I added it to cart, I didn't buy. A flow will be triggered and it would tell me after half an hour, hey Talal, you didn't buy it. It's still in your cart. Come click here to go back, buy it. I didn't click, didn't open the email. After a day, I receive incentive. Like, hey Talal, here's a 10% off. Do it now, or your offer will go away. Buy the book, whatever. So these are flows. And I think for e-com that is beginning or looking to scale or whatever, if you don't have email, then you should begin immediately. If you want to also...
Give me an example of 2 or 3 flows that everybody should be building as soon as they can. Cart abandonment is a good one. What else?
Welcome. So when I'm on the website, a pop-up will appear and will say, take 10% or 15% or whatever percent I can give from your first order. What we're doing here is we're giving a bit away money to gain data, right? It's like when you do a lead magnet. Take this lead magnet for free, but just give me your email, please. Because emails are really valuable and data is valuable, especially if it's a qualified lead, right? The lead actually uses this code and buys a product, which means a lead is interested in your product. So welcome flow to give them a discount. I think starting out, give them a discount to start with. Abandoned cart flow, I would do also browse abandonment flow, which is also the same idea, but I browsed the product and I went out. It will be activated. And I would put customer thank you flow. This is a post-purchase flow that will tell, for example, hey, thank you for buying my book. However, do you know that there is another small booklet to help you more in how to do the YouTube ads targeting? Buy it now for 10%. So post-purchase, it's customer thank you post-purchase flow. These are the 4 most, let's say there are 6 to 7 core flows, but these 4 are. The other thing with email is campaigns. So let's say you already collected 10K or 3K of emails. Now you have 3K of people that are potential clients to buy from you again. So the cool thing about email that you spend $50 to acquire one customer, and the customer bought for $50. So you lose money. But if you made the customer buy another $50, then you're profitable. Of
Exactly.
course, within the first, imagine you can make the customer buy another $50 within the first month. Then you're not only profitable, but you have positive cash flow where you can utilize it to buy inventory
Yes.
and scale your business. So
Yeah.
email is really crucial.
It is. One of the things I always did back when I was running for GOG.com, when I was running a big email list, we had like 4 million at the time I was finally finishing up there. And it was, but they still, because the tech team was, we'll say, old fashioned. All the emails were sent basically via one giant bash script that they'd written internally. There was no software for this. So the sensible thing you do when you manage your big list is you send to like 1% of the list with several different subject lines. And you see which one works, and then you change the subject line for all the rest of the emails, and you go. We couldn't do that because it was literally just one giant SQL file with every address, and it would just send the emails. We would test the messaging before we sent the email out with meta ads, where we'd have very simple ads with four different choices for the subject line for the email. And then whichever one got the best click-through rate, that was the subject line for the email that would go out in 2 days.
That's a great
So
idea.
we did that. And if your email software doesn't let you do a pre-send test, which many don't, that's a way to see if your list has any appreciable size, improving click-through rate or open rate 15 or 20%, which is easy if you find there's one good subject line and a couple crap ones, really quickly pays off. And again, $100 48-hour ad campaigns, right? We'd spend $100 and we would make $75,000 more than we would have because we found the best subject line to run the ads with. Now, I do remember at that company, the accounting team came to me at one point, like, hey, you spent like $6,000 on these Facebook ads that's made no money. You aren't allowed to run Facebook ads anymore. And I was like, no, look at the email marketing money we've made. That all came from us testing subject lines in email. So if you stop the $6,000 spend, you will miss out on $1.1 million in extra email revenue this year. And they were like, oh, maybe we won't do that. Yeah, okay.
That's a great
Anyway.
idea. Yeah, we usually do A/B testing now within the platform. The platforms have
Yeah.
really amazing data,
What platform
tells
do you
you
like?
exactly. And we can, we A/B test at the same time. So
Yeah.
sending two emails or,
What software do you like for sending emails?
So we use Klaviyo only. We are
Oh, okay.
partners. We are partners with
Gotcha.
Klaviyo, and Klaviyo is really good with e-com. Works. They also, I mean, you can use them for B2B as well. But think they just position themselves as the best e-com platform for email marketing. And yeah, that's it. We don't use any other platform. We can, but we really like Klaviyo, and we always migrate our clients to Klaviyo.
Gotcha. Cool. I always like to wrap these up by asking whether it's a business book or some other type of book. Is there a book that you think somebody who is new in business and starting to launch something today that they should read to ground them and make them better at digital marketing or e-commerce businesses or just being an entrepreneur in general?
There is a book called Cash Advertising, which is really cool. It really helps in advertising and how to advertise on copywriting and all of that. What else? I'm reading a book myself, Scale Up. Is it called Scale Up? You know it, right?
Yeah.
Which is amazing for scaling up. The $100 million offer by $100 million offer by Alex Hormozi is nice.
That's a good book. I haven't read his second one, the $100 million.
I have it here, but I didn't see it. I
haven't gotten to it yet. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Cash Advertising is by Drew Eric Whitman, and Scale Up is by, what's the name here? Vern Harnish, sorry? Or are we talking about a different one? There's a bunch of books called Scaling Up.
Scaling Up by, not Scale Up, Scaling Up, let me check. By Vern Harnish.
By Vern Harnish. How a few companies make it and the rest don't. But yeah, that was my blog post last week, as of this recording, was surviving the 3-year cliff, because most businesses don't make it past 3 years. It's actually quite a steep drop. At 2.5 years to 3.5 years, the mortality rate goes up a whole lot. If you make it past 3.5 years, you're much more likely to make it to 10. But making it past 3.5 is apparently just everyone has run out of their personal network's ability to fund them. Whatever their initial go-to-market channel was has dried up, and then they just fall over and die. So
Wow. We
if you
survived.
have,
I
we did, both
survived
of
it.
us.
Yeah.
Me too. I mentioned in our last mastermind, I almost didn't for the exact reasons I mentioned, right? I thought one channel was enough, business was growing and succeeding. Why invest in more marketing for my marketing agency? Ironic. And then when the one channel that I had stopped working, I didn't have any new business land for 9 months. So that was tough.
Well,
And
yeah,
also, I didn't really appreciate, I had two 15K a month clients and just thought those were easy to get. And so I was like, business is easy. Anyone who complains about startup life is dumb. And then when I didn't get more 15K a month clients, I was like, oh, it was during the time of zero interest money from the Fed. So folks were just like, let's spend money and learn stuff. And we're not there anymore. Alrighty. So, Talal, as always, I like having marketers with a great mindset on the show. I appreciate you coming on today. Are there any last thoughts you want to drop for somebody in the e-com space, a founder, that they should keep in mind as they launch as a way to wrap our episode up with a bow?
Yeah, it's really important to look at your average order value, increase it. If you are not doing a good return, increase it. Find ways to increase your average order value. Bundle, post-purchasing, increase your price because you want to probably you want to come in the market with lower price and then you say, oh, like my return is low because your price is lower, so your competitive advantage is good. But you have to know that if your price is low, your return will be lower. But also, never like in any way, average order value is really important, and then customer lifetime value. So as we mentioned, email marketing, retargeting, all
It
of that.
is worth noting, I was just advising somebody through the Super Founder Global Network I'm part of who had taken a business to $2 million a year, e-com business, and then murdered it accidentally with a holiday promotion where she basically, it was a 12-month subscription to a custom printed book every month. And the first month was a loss leader. So she'd sell like a $25 book for $1.99 to get you in. And then every month after you'd pay $24. And she went broke because she sold so many $1 books that fulfilling them, the company had no cash left for the next month. So like loss leaders can be a thing, but don't do that. Don't sell so many of your lost leader that you lost everything. Right? Average order value. Yeah, she got like 50,000 sales or something for Christmas. That and then by January the company was done because they and all these folks who paid, they're like, peace, titled out. So that could be a real problem. Make sure you're in your e-commerce business. Cash flow. Cash flow. Yes. Yeah. If you, I work in the startup space, you do too. Lots of startups run cash flow negative for years and years and years because they're funded to do it. But most businesses don't have that luxury, and it's a real problem for a startup when they finally have to actually earn revenue above costs. And they're like, profit? I've never heard of the term. What do I do? Like most of us have to deal with that earlier on. If you're bootstrapping, running, scaling your business up, that cash flow, that average order value, knowing a tipping point also where brand loyalty comes. At GOG, when I was doing the marketing there, we knew if you bought 3 games, you were more than 50% likely to buy 7. And so we would work real hard to get folks to buy a 3rd game, even at just about break even. We wouldn't do loss leaders and go into debt, but we would sell 3 games at break even because then we'd know we'd sell 4 at profit. And so that by that point we had well over 100,000 units sold just in general. And so we just did some statistical analysis. And what it really worked out to was, so video games, like books, frequently they come in sequence. There's several of them. And so if we could get somebody to start 2 or 3 series, odds are they would buy the whole series then. And so that worked really well. We discount the first two games in a 3 or 5 game series and get you to buy 1 or 2 series. And then we know when you finish those, you'd come back, and if it wasn't on sale, you'd still pay full price for the game when you want to play that one next. We were your friendly, nerdy drug dealers. Yes. All right. Talal, thank you so much for your time today. Anybody listening, if you are looking to grow or scale your e-com business and you want to know more about Talal, where do we go find you? It will also be, your name will be written out in the show, so people will be able to see it there. Control-C, Control-V. Awesome. Thank you so much for your insights today. I really appreciate it. Everybody who's listening, thanks for listening. We'll come back in a week or 2 with more episodes about how to grow and launch and scale your business. So be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out. Thanks.